Welcome to my presentation on the social issue of homelessness. This is for my Social Problems 102 class at the College of Western Idaho. My name is Andrew Young, and let's begin. So what is homelessness, and why does it matter? Well, being considered homeless is defined as being an individual who does not have housing. This is a big issue for me personally because I've seen the homeless struggle since I was a young boy. I know friends, family, and acquaintances that either have been, are, or are on the edge of being homeless. It's a scary situation that, according to Elena Samuels, affects 15% of U.S. Americans. In fact, you can see that this affects 600,000 homeless families as well. This problem affects so many people in so many different parts of the country that it affects everyone at a national level. In fact, despite this presentation focusing on data from the U.S., as many as 1.6 billion people are homeless across the world. So the concepts explained in this presentation could be considered nationally or globally. So here we are covering the common misconceptions about the homeless. More often than not, people assume that individuals become homeless because of irresponsible handling of financial resource. You can see here in quotes that people have stated that they firmly believe that the homeless let themselves end up in the situation that they are in. However, there are many reasons people become homeless, and it is oftentimes out of their control. For example, many homeless women have experienced abuse at home according to the National Law Center on Homeless and Poverty. This type of social abuse can cause trauma and a maladjustment to trying to live a regular life. Abuse can be a big factor, but on the more economical side, housing continues to become more and more overvalued as we move later into 2018. So it's clear that there are external forces affecting these individuals to the point where they are forced into homelessness rather than these individuals themselves not being responsible enough to keep a home. So here is one man's experience with homelessness. This is a picture of a homeless man that had sat down with Tyler Mann to do an interview and talk about his experience with homelessness. The man's name was never mentioned in the video, and I think that this was intentional as to protect his privacy. So we will simply refer to him as Matt. Matt's story had a personal note when I was listening to him. I know a few friends who have been charged with the felony and have served a year to up to 20 years, and I've listened to their stories and can understand how hard it can be for someone returning to society to find a job and a home. There is no safety net for these kinds of people, especially for felons. Another reason I chose this video is because Matt brings up some very important issues. The first of which is obviously how society does not have any means for released prisoners to adjust back to a normal lifestyle. The second is how dismissive people's attitudes can be when it comes to their perception of the homeless. Matt explains in the video that he walked up to a woman to simply ask for the time, and he was met with cries from the women to leave her alone and that she didn't have any money. In response, Matt's perspective is skewed as well, as he states that if society doesn't want Matt, then he doesn't want society. Matt perceives himself, in the eyes of society, as a castaway. Perhaps he is even falling into a self-fulfilled prophecy. It is this cycle of dismission and isolation that can really impact a homeless person's motivation to get better. The fact that people think that homelessness is a chosen lifestyle only isolates the homeless even further. To me, out of the three sociological perspectives of functionalism, conflict, and symbolic interaction, I believe that the conflict theory gives the most reasonable explanation for homelessness. A lot of the issues that homeless people face is because there is a conflict for resources that have put them at the bottom. It's how it works. We are, after all, living in a capitalist society, and the free market determines the winners, to an extent. The conflict perspective is a perspective that I bet Karl Marx, a great sociologist, would have chosen for this particular social issue as well. Karl Marx wrote a theory on social classes' struggle for resources. Marx had said that our social stratification has less to do with rewarding skilled individuals and more about getting ahead through means of coercion, exploitation, and inheritance. For those who are more endowed, getting ahead through those means is rather easy. For those who have next to nothing, there is very little means to get ahead, especially through coercion, exploitation, and inheritance. Another great sociologist is Robert Park, who came up with a theory on social change. Park explains that social change occurs when there is a dissatisfaction in society, and as a result of this, there is a social unrest which ends with new accommodations for the new institutional order. I believe, according to Park's theory, that there is already social unrest for the issue of homelessness. While Marx may just leave poverty as the way society naturally spreads its resource, Park's theory opens up a possible solution for those struggling with homelessness. Through social actions caused by social unrest, perhaps society can collectively move some of our resource to stabilize the growing issue of homelessness. The issue with trying to solve homelessness is that it's pretty much unsolvable, to an extent. If you look at how our capitalist economy is set and understand how the conflict perspective views a fight over resources, then you'll understand that there will always be someone at the bottom of the economic food chain. However, that does not mean that there is nothing we can do. The best thing we can do for the homeless is to provide tools to help them reintegrate back into society and also find proper housing. One method of helping the homeless with housing is the Section 8 Housing Act passed in 1937. This act allowed landlords to get assistance for paying for a low-income resident's housing. Although this act and its benefits are disappearing, I think it was a step in the right direction. Providing a way to get help for the homeless is the best way to help them re-enter society and improve the community. Thank you.